The alien girl stepped out of the silver light, her slender body trembling with a mix of fear and wonder. Earth was nothing like the planets she had visited before. The sky stretched wide and endless, painted with soft blues and whites, while the ground beneath her feet was solid, warm, and strangely alive. She had traveled across countless galaxies, seen worlds with skies of green and oceans of liquid fire, but nothing had prepared her for this planet that hummed with an energy she could almost feel in her bones. Every sound, every movement, every subtle flicker of light seemed to pulse in rhythm with her heartbeat, making her senses tingle. Yet, she felt small, as if she had entered a world far too loud, far too bright, far too alive for her fragile presence. Her large, shimmering eyes darted around. Towering structures, humans hurrying past each other, and strange glowing vehicles moving without horses or wings, it was chaotic, but somehow mesmerizing. She noticed that humans carried boxes that made strange noises, some bouncing vibrations into the ground, while others emitted flashes of light that made her ears ring slightly. She recoiled, covering her small, pointed ears with her hands, trying to block the harsh, alien sounds. She had been told that Earth was peaceful, that its humans were curious and kind, but the reality felt overwhelming. Every footstep, every shout, every rumble of the machines created a storm inside her head. Her chest tightened, and for a moment, she wondered if she had made a mistake by coming here. But curiosity, stronger than fear, pushed her forward. She moved cautiously through the crowded streets, her eyes scanning for something, anything, that felt familiar. The scents were strange too, a mix of metallic tangs, cooked foods, and the faint perfume of humans themselves. She breathed it in carefully, tasting the air like it held secrets waiting to be discovered. Then, she heard it, a deep, vibrating sound unlike anything she had experienced. At first, it was faint, almost imperceptible, yet it drew her in like a thread pulling at her mind. She followed it, each step cautious, her curiosity growing faster than her fear. The source of the sound revealed itself as she rounded a corner. A small group of humans stood together, some holding long wooden objects with strings, others with round metal discs that clanged when struck. The sound hit her ears in waves, a heavy, chaotic rhythm that made her knees wobble. She wanted to run, to hide somewhere quiet, but her body froze. There was something hypnotic about the vibration, a strange energy that seemed to reach deep into her core. Her heartbeat quickened, and for a fleeting moment, she felt an unfamiliar thrill mixed with fear. What was this? Why did it make her feel both pain and excitement at the same time? Her instincts screamed at her to flee, yet she couldn't. The alien girl took a step closer, hiding behind a large metallic structure. She watched as humans moved their hands over the instruments, creating sound that seemed almost alive. Each beat, each strike, made the air shimmer, and she felt it brush against her skin in pulses, like invisible waves of energy. Her mind struggled to understand, to make sense of it. On her planet, music was soft, controlled, almost ceremonial. This was chaos, wild and untamed. She flinched as the drumbeat struck hard against her chest, but something inside her urged her to stay. Then, she noticed something else. The humans were not aware of her presence, but they were communicating in ways she could not hear with her ears. There was a rhythm, a pattern, almost like a language hidden within the noise. The strings vibrated, the drums thumped, and the energy of the music moved in waves around them, touching everything in the space. She watched in awe as the humans' bodies seemed to respond to it naturally, swaying, moving, almost dancing in sync with the chaotic sound. Her own body began to tremble, not just from fear, but from an odd resonance deep inside her. Her mind raced. Could this noise, this unbearable sound, be something more than mere chaos? Could it be alive? A sudden high-pitched note sliced through the rhythm, making her wince. She grabbed her ears, stepping back instinctively, but her curiosity was stronger than her pain. Slowly, she peeked again, and this time, she let herself feel the vibration. It was strange, almost intoxicating. For a moment, she closed her eyes, letting the waves wash over her. Something deep inside responded, a flicker of emotion she had never felt before, excitement, anticipation, and something dangerously close to joy. Her hands fell from her ears, but her body remained tense, ready to flee at any second. As the humans continued, she noticed that the music seemed to follow her, almost reaching out, wrapping around her in invisible threads. She felt herself leaning in, drawn forward like a moth to a flame, caught between fear and an unexplainable fascination. Could she survive this? Could she understand it? Her mind swirled with questions as she moved closer, heart pounding, senses on fire. And in that moment, the alien girl realized that Earth was nothing like she had imagined, and that perhaps this chaotic, terrifying, beautiful noise might be the first thing on this planet to truly change her. She did not know it yet, but this was only the beginning. Every beat, every vibration, every clash of sound was about to rewrite the way she felt, the way she thought, and the way she lived. The alien girl had arrived on Earth, expecting quiet, expecting peace, but instead she had stumbled into a storm that would awaken something deep within her, something she could not yet name. The adventure had begun, and there was no turning back. The alien girl moved cautiously through the bustling streets, her senses still buzzing from the strange encounter she had witnessed. Every step she took seemed louder than the last, and the hum of the city filled her ears like a living creature. Yet, that peculiar, vibrating rhythm, the one that had pierced her senses and stirred something deep within her, lingered in her mind. She couldn't stop thinking about it. It was chaotic, powerful, alive. She had expected fear, pain, and confusion on Earth, but she hadn't expected curiosity. And now, it gnawed at her, a quiet, insistent pull that urged her forward, toward the source she didn't fully understand. She crept through narrow alleys, keeping to the shadows, her large eyes scanning every corner. Humans passed her by without noticing, too absorbed in their own worlds to sense her presence. Every footstep, every shout, every clatter of metal echoed through her mind, but she forced herself to focus on the rhythm she was seeking. The strange vibration seemed to call to her, like a whisper she could almost understand. It was louder now, stronger, more insistent, as if the music itself wanted her to come closer. Her small hands tightened at her sides, and her heart raced with both fear and anticipation. What was this sound? Why did it feel alive? Following the rhythm, she arrived at a glowing building that pulsed with energy. From inside came the crashing, clanging, roaring sound she had both feared and been drawn to. The alien girl paused at the entrance, her body frozen in hesitation. The vibration seemed to wrap around her, tugging at her chest, urging her forward. She wanted to turn and run, to escape the overwhelming noise, yet her curiosity outweighed her caution. Slowly, carefully, she stepped through the doorway. Inside, the chaos intensified. Humans crowded the space, holding strange objects, some with strings, others with tight skins stretched over frames, that collided to produce waves of sound so powerful she felt them in her bones. At first, she tried to shield herself, covering her ears as her mind reeled under the assault. The music was unlike anything she had ever experienced, loud, wild, and erratic, yet strangely magnetic. Despite her fear, she couldn't look away. Her body trembled, caught between the instinct to flee and the impossible pull of fascination. Every strike of the drum, every strum of the string, seemed to resonate with her in ways she could not explain. She moved closer, careful to stay in the shadows, observing the humans as they poured themselves into the music. Their faces glowed with excitement, sweat dripping down their brows, eyes closed as if they were speaking to something unseen. She noticed that the vibrations didn't just move through the air, they moved through her. Her chest expanded and contracted with the rhythm, her limbs tingled, and a warmth spread through her body she had never felt before. Fear still lingered, but beneath it, something new had begun to grow, a flicker of awe, curiosity, even desire. The music wasn't merely noise, it was alive, and it was speaking to her in a language she didn't yet understand. Then, suddenly, the rhythm changed. A high-pitched note cut through the chaos, sharp and unrelenting. She winced, instinctively raising her hands to cover her ears, but the sound did something unexpected. Instead of hurting her, it seemed to awaken something inside her mind. Flashes of color, images of distant stars, and memories of her home planet streaked across her consciousness. The vibrations of the music weren't just sounds, they were threads connecting her to something larger, something she couldn't yet name. Her fear wavered, replaced by a strange, electric thrill. Could this chaotic noise be communicating with her? Heart pounding, she dared to step closer to the source, standing near the speakers that blared the powerful sounds. The vibrations rushed over her, brushing against her skin, settling deep into her chest. She closed her eyes and let herself feel the waves, letting the rhythm guide her thoughts. Her body trembled not with pain this time, but with a strange, growing energy. Something inside her responded to the music, almost as if it had been waiting for this moment all along. Her hands fell from her ears, and she allowed herself to move with the beat, swaying gently at first, then more freely. She could hardly believe it. She, the alien girl who had hated loud noises, was being drawn into them, feeling alive in ways she had never imagined. But just as quickly as the excitement grew, a surge of doubt struck her. What if the humans discovered her? What if they were afraid? She glanced around nervously, watching their faces as they played their instruments, completely unaware of her presence. The thought made her stiffen, and she almost turned to leave, but the rhythm inside her would not let her. It demanded her attention, pulling her forward like a current she could not resist. With each beat, each crash, each strum, she felt herself changing, opening to something new and terrifyingly beautiful. The alien girl stayed, caught between fear and fascination, as the humans continued their music. She felt a connection she could not explain, a bond with the sound and perhaps with the humans themselves, even though they did not notice her. The music wrapped around her like a living entity, vibrating through every nerve, every fiber of her being, awakening feelings she had never known. For the first time, she realized that Earth was not simply a foreign planet to be feared. It was alive, chaotic, unpredictable, and full of possibilities. And in that moment, the alien girl made a silent promise to herself. She would return. She would explore this forbidden sound, this living rhythm, even if it terrified her. She would discover what it wanted to show her, and perhaps, what it wanted to make of her. The journey had only just begun, and already, she felt the strange thrill of knowing that nothing would ever be the same again. The forbidden sound had found her, and in doing so, it had awakened a spark that would change her forever. The alien girl returned to the edge of the music hall the very next night, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. She had spent hours recalling the strange, vibrating rhythm in her mind, feeling it echo through her body even when she was far away. It was no longer just a sound, she could feel it calling her, guiding her, almost like it had a life of its own. Every time she closed her eyes, she could see the flashes of color, the streaks of light, and the strange warmth that had washed over her the night before. Her curiosity had grown too strong to resist, even as fear still whispered in her mind. She crept silently through the alleys, moving like a shadow, her senses heightened. Every footstep of the humans, every clatter of the city, made her more aware of the world she had entered. Yet, she paid little attention to the chaos around her now. Her focus was the music, the wild, untamed rhythm that had awakened something inside her. As she approached the hall, she noticed the doors slightly open. A soft glow spilled out, flickering against the walls, and the deep thrum of drums and strummed strings spilled into the street. She pressed herself against the side of the building, peeking through the crack, and her eyes widened. Inside, the music was louder, more chaotic, and yet somehow more organized. Humans moved with it naturally, their bodies flowing, swaying, and sometimes leaping as if carried by invisible currents. She could see the sweat on their faces, the determination in their movements, and the joy that radiated from every note they played. It was mesmerizing, and for the first time, the alien girl felt a strange, almost magnetic pull toward them, not out of fear, but out of an instinct she did not yet understand. Her heart raced. Could she survive this chaos? Could she even remain hidden while she let herself be drawn in? Then, something extraordinary happened. A sudden strike of the drum reverberated through the hall, sending vibrations that washed over her like waves of energy. She tried to step back, covering her ears, but this time, the pain she had expected never came. Instead, the vibrations wrapped around her mind, pushing gently, opening doors she didn't know existed. Colors flashed in her vision, not from the lights of the room, but from the sound itself. Her body trembled, not in fear, but in awe. Flashes of her home planet appeared in her mind, glimmering skies, flowing oceans, and faces she hadn't seen in centuries. The music was not just a sound, it was communicating with her, reaching into her memory, her feelings, and perhaps her soul. Her breath caught in her throat. She had always thought of music as something delicate, a ceremonial expression of emotion, never as wild and alive as this. Yet now, she understood that this chaos, the noise that had frightened her, was a language she could feel, even if she could not yet fully understand. Her small hands fell from her ears, and she let the vibrations flow through her body. Each beat seemed to match her heartbeat, each strum resonated with the rhythm of her own life. She swayed slightly at first, then more boldly, letting the sound guide her movements. A sudden note, higher and sharper than the rest, cut through the room. The alien girl winced, expecting pain, but instead, the note penetrated her mind in a strange, profound way. Memories, feelings, and visions she had never known swirled inside her consciousness. The music was teaching her, showing her images of stars and planets she had never visited, yet somehow felt connected to. Her mind raced. Could this be magic? Could this be a way to understand humans, or even a way to connect with the universe itself? The realization was both thrilling and terrifying. She wanted to run, yet every instinct, every cell in her body, demanded that she stay. She stepped closer to the source, drawn by the invisible threads of sound. The humans were unaware of her presence, but it no longer mattered. She felt part of the music, as if it had accepted her, wrapped her into its rhythm, and allowed her to feel something she could not describe. Her body moved with the sound, almost naturally, as if she had been waiting for this moment all her life. Fear lingered at the edges of her mind, but it was no longer the dominant force. Instead, awe, curiosity, and a strange happiness filled her being. For hours, she watched, listened, and felt. Each beat, each note, each vibration spoke to her, building a strange, powerful connection that went beyond fear. She realized that the music was teaching her a new way to perceive the world, a way to understand life beyond what she had known. The rhythms wrapped around her, pulled her deeper, and opened doors she didn't know existed. Her mind, body, and even her alien spirit seemed to resonate with it. As the night wore on, she noticed something else. The humans, though unaware of her presence, were themselves responding to something greater. Their faces glowed with a mixture of joy and struggle, their hands moved with purpose, and the energy around them hummed with life. The alien girl realized that the music was not merely sound, it was a living, breathing entity, and it had chosen her to experience its power. She felt a strange sense of belonging, a connection she had never imagined possible. And yet, despite the wonder, a flicker of fear returned. What if this connection demanded more than she could give? What if she could not survive its intensity? She shivered but did not leave. Instead, she embraced the unknown, feeling the vibrations move through her once more. This forbidden sound, the chaotic, wild music she had feared, was no longer an enemy. It was a guide, a teacher, and perhaps even a friend. As dawn approached, the alien girl slipped silently back into the shadows, her mind racing with possibilities. She had experienced the music, felt its power, and begun to understand its strange, inexplicable language. She knew she had changed, even if she could not yet name the transformation. One thing was certain, she would return. The forbidden sound had found her, and she could not resist its call. The connection she had made was only the beginning. The alien girl had discovered that Earth held secrets far greater than she had imagined, and that the music, wild, untamed, alive, was the key to unlocking them. And deep down, she knew that whatever came next, she would never be the same again. The alien girl had returned to Earth again and again, each night drawn by the strange, powerful rhythm that no longer frightened her as it once had. The music had become a secret, a forbidden force she could not resist. She had watched humans for hours, hiding in the shadows, feeling every vibration, every note, and yet she had remained silent, unseen. But tonight was different. Tonight, she wanted more. She wanted to experience it, to touch it, to let it flow through her body in a way she had never allowed before. She crept toward the center of the hall, careful to avoid the humans, yet closer than she had ever dared. The instruments sang to her, the drums thumped like distant hearts, and the strings pulsed with a life of their own. She reached out, letting her fingers hover above the instruments. Her large, shimmering eyes reflected the chaotic lights around her, and for a moment, she felt a rush of fear. What if the humans discovered her? What if the music overwhelmed her, or worse, hurt her? Her hands trembled, but the pull of the sound was stronger than her fear. She could feel it calling to her, urging her to become part of it, to stop watching from the shadows and take her first step into its energy. Slowly, she touched the strings of a strange wooden instrument. The vibration ran up her arms and into her chest, and she gasped, her body reacting in ways she did not expect. The sound was not just music, it was alive, responding to her touch, wrapping itself around her mind, and opening doors she had never imagined. Her ears no longer hurt. Instead, they tingled with pleasure, and the rhythm seemed to speak directly to her, not as noise, but as understanding. Every beat, every note, every vibration pulled at her very essence, awakening emotions she had never felt before, joy, excitement, curiosity, and a sense of power that made her feel alive. For hours, she experimented, touching drums, plucking strings, and letting the vibrations flow through her. At first, it was uncomfortable, her body stiffening at the unexpected intensity. But slowly, she began to move with it, swaying in sync with the rhythm, letting it guide her hands and feet. She discovered that the music responded to her in return, each note bending and changing with her presence. She realized, with a thrill, that she could create the sound herself, shaping it, bending it, letting it flow through the hall like water or wind. The fear she had once felt melted away, replaced by an exhilarating freedom she had never known. The humans continued playing their instruments, unaware of her presence, yet their music seemed to resonate with hers. A strange harmony formed, unplanned, chaotic, and yet perfect in its own way. The alien girl felt a connection, not only to the music but to the humans themselves, though they did not see her. Their energy, their passion, their pure love for the sound mixed with her own, creating a bond she could feel deep in her chest. For the first time, she understood that music was not just sound, it was life, energy, emotion, and communication. She had feared it before, but now she embraced it, letting it transform her from the inside out. As the night progressed, she noticed her own body changing subtly. Her movements became smoother, more confident, and more expressive. Her large eyes glowed faintly with the resonance of the music, reflecting the rhythm in ways that no human could see. Her breathing matched the pulse of the drums, and her thoughts moved in patterns shaped by the melody. She realized that the music had awakened something in her mind and spirit, something she could not yet name, but that made her feel both powerful and vulnerable at the same time. And then, a sudden crescendo of sound broke through the hall. The alien girl gasped, nearly stumbling, but instead of fear, she felt exhilaration. The music coursed through her, stronger and wilder than ever before, pulling her into a whirlwind of rhythm and vibration. She let herself go completely, closing her eyes and moving with it, no longer hiding, no longer afraid. She was part of it now, every vibration, every note, every pulse running through her like fire and water at once. She laughed quietly, a sound she hadn't made in centuries, as the music carried her into something new, something terrifyingly beautiful. For a long time, she lost herself in the rhythm, discovering not only the power of the music but the power within herself. She realized that she could bend it, shape it, and let it flow in ways humans could never imagine. Fear, hesitation, and doubt no longer held her back. Instead, she felt a deep, growing excitement at the endless possibilities before her. The alien girl who had once hated loud noises had transformed into someone who could embrace chaos, dance with it, and even control it in small ways. When the music finally slowed, fading into gentle echoes, she opened her eyes. The humans were still unaware of her presence, but she felt no need for them to notice. She had discovered something far greater than acceptance. She had found a new way to exist, a new way to connect with the universe, and a new part of herself she had never known. The alien girl smiled faintly, her chest still humming with the energy of the night. She had been afraid, she had been hesitant, and she had been overwhelmed, but now she was transformed. And deep inside, she knew that this was only the beginning. The music had unlocked something extraordinary within her, something that would grow stronger with each encounter, each experiment, and each secret night she spent among the sounds. The alien girl had stepped beyond fear, beyond hesitation, and into a new world of possibility. She had begun her transformation, and nothing, no noise, no human, no fear, could take it away from her. The rhythm had found her, and she had found herself in return. The alien girl had changed. No longer did she hide in shadows, trembling at the sound of human music. Instead, she felt its rhythm coursing through her, guiding her, shaping her thoughts and movements. Each night, she returned to the glowing hall, eager to explore, to experiment, and to discover more about the strange, powerful force she had once feared. But tonight, she felt a new impulse stirring deep inside her. She could no longer simply observe. She wanted to communicate, to connect, to share the secret that had awakened within her. She moved carefully among the humans, her body swaying with the rhythm as naturally as they did. Her large, shimmering eyes glowed faintly in the dim light, reflecting the chaos and energy around her. She noticed the humans' focus, their deep concentration on the instruments, their faces alive with emotion. Yet despite their dedication, something was missing, a connection that went beyond mere playing, beyond simple rhythm. She realized with a thrill that she could offer that connection. The music had taught her to feel, to sense, and perhaps even to influence the energy around her. Slowly, she reached out, allowing the vibrations to extend beyond herself. The drums thumped in response to her subtle movements, the strings pulsed under her touch, and the notes bent and shifted in ways that seemed almost impossible. She had discovered a power she had never known, the ability to influence sound itself, to shape it and guide it without words, without instructions. The humans noticed something strange, a subtle shift in the music, a new energy that seemed to emerge from nowhere. Their heads turned slightly, their eyes widening with surprise, but they could not pinpoint the source. The alien girl hesitated for only a moment before letting herself go completely. She allowed her hands, her body, and even her mind to merge with the rhythm, creating waves of sound that flowed through the hall like living streams. The humans began to respond instinctively, swaying, moving, and playing in harmony with her energy, though they did not know why. The music had become a conversation, a silent dialogue between her and the humans, a language that needed no words, no gestures, no understanding beyond feeling. For the first time, she felt truly connected, not just to the music, but to the beings around her. A sudden crash of drums echoed through the hall, and the alien girl's body vibrated in perfect sync with it. She realized she could guide the tempo, shape the melody, and even predict the humans' next movements. The energy of the room flowed through her like electricity, thrilling, frightening, and exhilarating all at once. She had become more than a hidden observer, she had become part of the music itself. Her fear, once so strong, was gone. In its place burned a fierce curiosity and a growing confidence that this connection could change everything. Yet, even as excitement filled her, a flicker of doubt crossed her mind. What if the humans discovered her true nature? What if they feared her, rejected her, or even tried to stop her? Her hands trembled slightly as she considered the possibility, but the rhythm did not allow hesitation. It wrapped around her, pulling her forward, urging her to embrace the moment fully. She could feel the music's pulse through her veins, guiding her thoughts and emotions, whispering a promise that she had never known, that connection, understanding, and even friendship could exist in forms she had never imagined. Encouraged, she began to explore further. She experimented with subtle vibrations, creating delicate harmonies and gentle pulses that mingled with the humans playing. She discovered that she could signal them, influence the tempo, and even inspire new melodies. Though they could not see her, they began to feel her presence, responding instinctively to the energy she wove into the music. Her heart raced with excitement. She had always been an outsider, a traveler from distant galaxies, observing worlds without truly belonging. But now, through the power of sound, she was part of something bigger than herself, part of a living, breathing expression that transcended language and species. Hours passed, but the alien girl barely noticed. She was lost in the rhythm, in the thrill of connection, in the subtle dance between control and surrender. Each beat, each vibration, each note taught her more about herself, about humans, and about the strange, magical force that was music. She began to smile, a small, quiet expression of joy that lit her alien features. She realized that fear and hesitation had been replaced by understanding, curiosity, and a profound sense of possibility. The forbidden sound had become her teacher, her guide, and her bridge to a world she had never thought she could touch. And then, just as dawn began to creep over the horizon, she felt it, a subtle shift in the energy of the room. The humans, still unaware of her presence, were responding in ways that suggested they had felt her influence. A melody emerged that none of them had played before, flowing naturally, beautifully, and with a strange harmony that seemed almost impossible. The alien girl realized she had done it. She had shared herself, her secret, and her connection with the music without a word, without revealing her identity, and yet with perfect understanding. She felt a quiet thrill of pride, a warmth that spread through her chest and into her very being. For the first time, she understood that this was only the beginning. Music had transformed her, awakened her, and connected her to humans in ways she had never imagined. She had gone from fear to fascination, from isolation to connection, and from curiosity to empowerment. And deep inside, she knew that the rhythm was calling her toward even greater discoveries, deeper connections, and experiences she could not yet foresee. The alien girl had embraced the music, embraced her power, and embraced the possibility that she could change the world, and perhaps even herself, in ways that no one, not even she, had imagined. As she slipped silently into the shadows, leaving the humans to their instruments, she smiled faintly, her heart still vibrating with the energy of the night. She had shared her secret, and in doing so, she had taken the first step toward something extraordinary. The forbidden sound had found its way into her soul, and she had found a way to touch it, shape it, and share it. The journey was far from over, and she knew the next steps would bring even greater challenges, mysteries, and wonders. But she was ready. The alien girl was no longer afraid. She had discovered a secret power, and the universe itself seemed to wait in anticipation for what she would do next. The alien girl stood at the edge of the glowing hall, her eyes reflecting the chaotic lights and the rhythm that had become a part of her very being. She no longer trembled at the sound of music. The fear that had once gripped her heart was gone, replaced by an electric excitement and a deep, unshakable connection to the vibrations that flowed through the room. Each note, each beat, each pulse was no longer merely a sound. It was a bridge, a language, and a source of power that she could feel in every fiber of her alien body. She had discovered something extraordinary, something no one had warned her about. Music was alive, and it had chosen her. Over countless nights, she had returned to the hall, moving quietly among humans, feeling their energy, and letting herself merge with the rhythm. She had learned to shape the sound, to influence it subtly, and even to communicate without words. The humans had begun to respond instinctively, as if guided by some invisible hand. Each melody she created, each vibration she sent into the air, became part of a larger, living composition that connected her to the humans and, more importantly, to the universe itself. She had gone from fear to fascination, from isolation to connection, and now she felt the exhilarating thrill of purpose. Tonight, however, was different. She no longer needed to hide. The energy within her had grown, and she felt confident in the power she had discovered. She stepped into the center of the hall, letting her presence resonate with the music, unafraid of the humans who now seemed to sense, rather than see, her influence. The vibrations flowed through her body like rivers of light and sound, each beat perfectly in sync with her heartbeat. For the first time, she felt a harmony so complete that it transcended fear, confusion, and even understanding. She was part of the music, and the music was part of her. As she moved, she realized the true extent of her transformation. Her body responded effortlessly to the rhythms, her thoughts aligned with the vibrations, and her mind felt sharper, clearer, and more alive than ever before. The alien girl, once timid and overwhelmed by loud noises, had become a conductor, a creator, and a participant in something far greater than herself. The music had awakened her potential, unlocking powers she had never known she possessed. She could sense energy flows, predict shifts in rhythm, and even guide the humans' melodies toward unexpected beauty. In that moment, she understood that her journey on Earth had only just begun. The humans, unaware of the alien presence but feeling the subtle influence, continued to play with renewed passion. Their music was richer, fuller, and more alive than ever before. And she, the alien girl, moved with it, shaping, guiding, and merging with the vibrations in ways that felt like magic. She had discovered a secret language, a form of communication that transcended words, species, and worlds. The thrill of this connection filled her chest with warmth, and a smile spread across her features. For the first time, she felt truly at home in this alien world, not because it was safe or familiar, but because she had found a way to belong through the music. Suddenly, a new realization struck her. The vibrations she now controlled were not confined to this hall, this city, or even this planet. They were part of something greater, a cosmic current that pulsed through the universe itself. The music she had once feared was a force capable of bridging worlds, connecting beings, and awakening potential in ways she had never imagined. Her mind raced with possibilities, other alien worlds, other civilizations, and other forms of music waiting to be discovered. She could feel the rhythm of the cosmos calling to her, and for the first time, she understood that her journey was far from over. With a deep, steadying breath, she allowed herself to merge fully with the vibrations around her. The hall seemed to expand, the energy multiplying and swirling in intricate patterns. She felt a rush of exhilaration and a deep sense of clarity. Everything she had feared, every doubt, every hesitation, had been a necessary step toward this moment. She was no longer an outsider, no longer a frightened observer. She was a participant, a guide, and a force capable of shaping the music, the energy, and perhaps even the future of those around her. And then, as the night reached its peak, the alien girl experienced something she had never expected: pure joy. The sound, the rhythm, and the human's energy flowed through her in perfect harmony. She laughed softly, a sound of release, excitement, and discovery. The music had not only changed her, it had transformed her understanding of herself, her place in the universe, and the infinite possibilities that lay ahead. She realized that fear was only the first step in any journey, and curiosity, courage, and connection could turn even the most chaotic forces into something beautiful and empowering. As dawn approached, she stepped back, letting the humans continue their music unaware of her presence. Yet she no longer needed secrecy to feel powerful. She had embraced the rhythm, the vibrations, and the connection. She had discovered her own strength, her ability to guide, influence, and shape energy in ways no one else could. And deep inside, she knew that this was just the beginning. Earth had awakened her, music had changed her, and the universe was waiting for her next steps. The alien girl looked toward the horizon, where the first light of the sun shimmered across the city. She felt a spark of excitement at the thought of what lay beyond this world. Other planets, other rhythms, other connections, there was so much to discover. She had been afraid, hesitant, and overwhelmed. But now, she was ready. The forbidden sound had not only found her, it had made her stronger, braver, and alive in ways she had never imagined. She was forever changed, and the universe itself seemed to lean forward, waiting for the next chapter of her journey. The alien girl smiled faintly, her chest still humming with energy, her mind alive with endless possibilities. She had discovered a secret, a gift, and a power that would guide her through the galaxies. And as she walked into the morning light, she felt a deep, unshakable certainty. Her journey had only just begun, and nothing would ever be the same again.